Hello everyone. Okay, so this is the last of my revision videos that I am actually creating. So this particular video actually focuses on how we are going to connect the dots of all the concepts we have covered in operations management as well as in marketing for the entire year. And this video is particularly important if you want to actually have a snapshot of how a particular concept can actually relate to another concept like ops management and a marketing concept, or ops management and a branding concept can actually be related, and you can actually use a point that is stronger because you're using both from both perspectives. All right. um, to begin, right? So we always have to go back to the business objective. And for most, in fact, all companies, profitability, or what we call profits, right? Remember the three P's, right? So one of them is profitability, right? So profits is important to all companies. Why? Because profits sustain the company over time, right? It sustains its operations over time. Even for non-profit, profitability is important. A non-profit and a for-profit company, the difference is that the for-profit company, the profits are given back to usually the private shareholders or the owners of the company. Whereas for non-profits, the profits are rediverted back to maybe its beneficiaries, its operations, or its stakeholders, its community, whatever the non-profit is actually trying to serve, right, or is advocating for. So that's the main difference between the two. But you notice profits is still the common thing between the two companies, that they do aim for profitability, because without profitability, you cannot have a operations that is for the long term, right? When we look at profitability, there are three ways to look at it. All right. So when we say that we want to increase profits, you can increase profits by increasing the selling price. You can increase profits by the sales volume, and you can increase profits by reducing the costs, right? Because if you take selling price minus cost is equals to profits. So as long as you do these two things, as in you increase one side, you decrease one side, you should be able to increase profitability. And if you are not going to do these two, you are increasing by sales volume, then of course you also increase profitability. All right. Okay, it's just math. All right, so just think about it that way, or you can just use a simple math and you can probably see the what I mean. Right, let's look at it in detail, and I think this is important for you to actually understand. So when we say what are the strategies that actually increase selling price, there are many strategies that you have learned in ops management as well as marketing. Let's go with ops management first. So generally speaking, if you do a customization or you pay for something in which is tailor made for you, you do have to pay extra, right? Because it is something that people are willing to pay um, for the particular choice that they want. So like for example, some of you make those notebooks, and then you draw some characters or some anime characters, or you write some words, and some of you even sell to people who are able to customize. That means they order a customized character or customized phrase, a calligraphy, and then you actually sell them for a higher price, correct? So this is what I mean by customization actually can increase selling price. Of course, if your quality improves, you can also command a higher selling price over time. Just like Apple, for example, right? We believe in the Apple's product quality. Okay, so and people are willing to pay for better quality products rather than a product that might break down or crack. Sometimes, if you use manufacturer's branding, if you remember, so if you use a reputable manufacturer, that means, for example, if you remember, I told you to look at your PCs. Those who have been using Windows, you will notice that there's either Intel or AMD as the chip. So those are reputable chip making companies, computer chip companies. So most of them, they will actually put the logo of that manufacturer's branding there, just so that you know you're paying more because of good quality chips, that's computer chip that's inside your computer system. All right, country origin effect, there is also this. So for example, made in Japan versus made in China or made in India, the prices of the products that's made in Japan usually are more expensive, right? So we know that. Okay. So sometimes some companies, they will actually do this. So for example, I've actually put here made in Japan Levi's jeans actually sell for 3 times the price that is um, against other normal Levi's. All right. Some people they actually include sustainable raw materials, eco-friendly production process. I will talk about fair trade later, and they include all this, and they actually tell the consumers that hey, you are paying more, but you're also paying more because I'm using eco-friendly products. The question then is, are eco-friendly products necessarily more expensive? It could be, it could be just marginally more expensive, but then you ask for more when they pay, right? So yeah, so this is sometimes how people actually use market perception, okay, to actually increase the selling price. Okay, fair trade is this idea. It usually exists for companies that deal with farming or agricultural produce. So, like for example, there's a group of coffee growers, and Starbucks actually have fair trade agreement with them. Fair trade means that you pay them a fair wage, a fair payment of what their labor is for. So you don't exploit the coffee growers, you don't exploit the community, and you reinvest some of this profits back into these communities of coffee growers that you actually take the coffee from or source the coffee from. So that is what fair trade means. You can always Google for it and see what fair trade means. Okay. Okay. Product strategy. So for selling, right, selling, increasing the selling price. Remember, I talk about customization. So sometimes instead of just one of a kind type of customization, you can also do limited edition so that you can command a higher selling price because it's limited edition, right? So you can also create different product variants so that you can actually have different selling price. Let me give you a simple example. Um, so Toyota have many different cars, right? Same for many other brands. So Toyota Corolla is usually the mass market brand, the one for the middle class. Whereas if you and the Toyota Camry is actually for the luxury class, right? So of Toyota cars. So if you create product variants, even within the same variant like Toyota Corolla, you could have the sport versus non-sport model, right? So all these things could actually um, increase your selling price. Okay. Okay, I talk about customization. I'm not going to repeat this. Packaging. If you notice nowadays, mooncake they are selling, and actually mooncake doesn't cost much to make the mooncake, but the packaging itself is very lovely. If you have been to Japan or you have family members who have been to Japan, you notice that they like to bring back certain Japanese pastry products or biscuits, and they are all very nicely packaged. So packaging do actually enhance, can enhance selling price, right? So sometimes what people can do is that they can actually um, what you call add an option, a complementary product accessory option, and then you can actually increase selling price. That is a bit tricky because sometimes we call this under increasing sales volume, right? But depending on what it is, like Apple Care Plan, it is something in which if you want a standard warranty, so you have to actually purchase and you can actually have um, a higher selling price. Okay, let me just move this a little bit. Okay, so pricing strategy that actually increases selling price. Okay, scheme pricing. Okay, so you look at it. You if you remember, we are pricing at the top end of the competition or the industry. So that's what scheme pricing is. And scheme pricing also will have a impact on the perception of the brand value of the product. So you should have a strong brand value before you can do scheme pricing, or strong brand resonance before you can do scheme pricing. So same thing for decoy pricing. Um, it is slightly different. I wrote there product value rather than brand value because decoy pricing actually means that you have different variants and you're offering them, and you're actually encouraging people to buy a particular variant, for example. So that product variant must have a product value that is slightly higher than the other two that is being presented as decoys. Okay, all right. Cost plus. Cost plus is this idea. If you remember, if you we just plus on top of the cost to make the product, so just do a higher markup, and then it will become a cost plus. Okay, next price discrimination. Of course, you can do price discrimination to actually target a certain group that is more willing to pay more, so that you can actually get a higher selling price across different segments of the customer groups. Okay, search pricing can go either ways, which is right, it's based on demand, right? So the difference here between cost plus and search pricing is that cost plus it doesn't take into account the consumer's willingness to pay, whereas search pricing is driven by real-time consumer demand. And as such, sometimes when there's a strong demand and there's low supply, you can actually increase the price of what you're offering, when you can increase quite substantially more than you can decrease. Okay, because sometimes when there's low demand but high supply, of course the prices will go down, but usually the increase in percentage versus the down percentage is higher in terms of the increase, because there's always a certain level of demand, okay, for products, so it will not go down too much. But whereas on rainy days, for example, you notice that the prices of taxis and grab cars actually surge quite a fair bit. Okay, whereas even like normal days, it doesn't really go down that much, to too low, right? You'll still be a certain base price. So I would say search pricing is one way in which, based on real time knowledge of demand, consumers demand, it can go up as a pricing strategy. Place. Okay, locate yourself in a reputable place, and therefore you can actually have a stronger perception of the brand value, and as such, um, you and actually sell for higher price. Okay, I wrote here whether or not you are using channels of distribution, whether or not that actually affects selling price really depends. Okay, but generally speaking, direct sales is the one that allows the company to keep more profits without sharing. Okay, and most importantly, allows the company to control its branding and brand image. The control of the branding and the brand image is important if, okay, and later you will look at it under branding, if a company wants to actually have a certain brand value and they are using it to increase their selling price. So for example, I'll give you a simple example. I just recently bought a kitchen sponge, to wash dishes. I could buy a NTUC own label branding, or I could buy a 3M, which is one of the better brands. So what did I buy? I buy a 3M because I wanted reliable quality on the sponge. I don't want it to break apart so easily. I don't want to scratch my things too easily, things like this. So branding do matter, right? And if you're buying a laptop, for example, when you're going year 5, 6, you will not probably purchase a unknown laptop brand or a very um, laptop brand that maybe is new in the market, right? Okay, next, promotion and branding. So how does that affect increasing of selling price? So what you do is that you notice the whole idea here is to increase the brand value so that you can increase the selling price. So your promotion strategies are very different in the objectives. Here is about increasing brand value. Okay, if you look at this promotion strategy under increasing sales volume, you'll notice that this particular promotional strategy is to encourage people to buy more. Okay, so this is increasing brand value, right? So two different sets of plans, okay, because of the different objectives. Okay, so please be nuanced. Do not just think promotions as in, oh no, I run advertisement, I do road shows, I have salespeople, I run loyalty programs. That is promotion, yes, but always be more nuanced. Why do you want certain promotion and why do you want to do them? Okay. Of course, IDA, if you remember IDA, awareness, interest, desire, and actually action, right? So you want to use IDA to actually raise brand awareness, brand differentiation, like informative ads, so above the line promotions, basically you want to actually target your consumers, but you will also reach out to consumers who are not your present consumers, for example, or may not be even your target consumers. So, but they know your brand, for example. It's how you may have never owned let's say a Lenovo laptop, but you know there's a Lenovo brand, correct? All right. So next, below the line, Okay, below the line targets the consumers that are in your market as well as your consumers or customers that are actually buying from you as well. So this is actually more niche towards your customer segment. Okay, so you're actually doing IDA, if you notice. Okay, so you raise awareness and then you do some emotional engagement, okay, for them. And you also need to provide opportunities for them to review, to talk about product, to kind of like show off, right? Unbox, these kind of things. All right, so it makes people happy, about their purchase. Give them a platform to speak, right? People's voice need to, they like to have their voice heard. Right? Like sometimes you buy something, you may not be putting it online, but you tell your friend you bought this, or you show something as a photo to your friend through your social media, and your friend get excited for you as well. So this is what people do, right? So it need not always be a mass social media type of thing, but even if you tell your friend decided, hey, I also like it, maybe I also want to buy it. So she also went to buy it. So you have already brought in one customer at least. Okay. All right. Generally speaking, the brand value, another word for brand value is brand equity, right? Actually increases upwards as you go upwards in the brand resonance pyramid. Okay, please learn how to draw a brand resonance pyramid. It's highly important. All right. And if you have brand premium, of course, you can command scheme pricing. Okay. So this is all to do with the brand resonance. So I'm just putting back all the questions for you to remember what brand resonance is so that you can actually remember it. Right. So at the initial stage, all brands need to raise awareness of who they are, at least the name, the logo, sometimes even a jingle can bring people back to your brand, right? Then there's this thing called brand image and brand differentiation. That's the second level with imagery and performance. So are consumers aware of some of the, like even your logo, when they see your logo, they know, that's McDonald's, and things like this. So definitely if you use umbrella or corporate branding strategy, it's easier. If you cannot remember what they are, just look at the slides and then you will see. Okay, easier for what? There's this keyword that I use here. It's called mindshare. Okay, what is mindshare? Mindshare is this idea. In a day, we are bombarded by many, many different brands. We are bombarded by many, many different messages. We are bombarded by even like many, many hours of lessons. So what do you actually remember? How do I actually help you as a teacher to remember some of my things and to compete with my other colleagues who are also making you to trying to help you remember or understand certain things in the classroom. This is what we mean by in business terms and business brand competition, we call it mindshare. How does a business actually, what type of percentage of the consumer's minds do they have? For example, Coca-Cola. What is the mindshare of Coca-Cola in consumers? When consumers think of a beverage, do they think Coca-Cola? When consumers think of a phone, do they think Apple, Samsung, or even Oppo, for example, or Xiaomi? So what is the mindshare in the consumer's mind when the consumer is thinking about certain things? Okay, when you think TV, for example, what comes to your mind? Is it Samsung? Is it Philips? Is it some other brands? So things like this, it means mind share. Got it? What comes to the consumer's mind? Okay, so you have to compete for that consumer's mind and the space of the consumer mind because our mind is bombarded, right? Next, sometimes are they aware of the features? Like these are very feature level, right? The differentiation. Okay, so sometimes some brands differentiate themselves by saying, hey, that brand, their products, the refrigerators, for example, are made in China. My refrigerators are made in Korea. Those are geographical branding. Okay, or this milk is produced in Malaysia. This milk that I'm selling you is produced in Australia. So there is a difference, right? You will probably want to buy a Australian product rather than a Malaysian milk product. Okay, but we do drink a lot of Malaysian dairy. So, okay, next, brand judgment and perception. Okay, that's the next level. So, beyond just differentiation, how do consumers actually weigh your brand against other brands? They make some rational or emotional weight to it, right? Then we look at things like competitive advantages that your product and brand does not have. So if you think about AECS, what is its competitive advantage? Its competitive advantage is that no one else in the industry has the amount of eye surgery volume that they have. That is their key competitive advantage. Got it? If you have read my email and follow what's happening, you will know that I won't have to explain more, and you can actually use that to help you explain. External brand validation. So sometimes you want other people to actually help you in terms of like telling people about your brand, and you have already told people this is how good, how good, how good, but you want a third party to actually validate your brand. A third party, that means a neutral party, somebody who is not involved in any, does not have any stakes in your sales, in your company. Okay, so people do use that to actually promote their brand as well. For example, SG Healthy, the logo on some products that actually help consumers to know of its brand quality or what its brand actually means, right? So of course, emotional engagement is important because you want to build loyalty and repeat sales with your customers, right? Okay. Okay. So the other one is sometimes a brand may want to reach out to possible complementary customers for other brands, right? So that is when collabs happen, right? Collaborations, right? Between and what we call in branding, called alliance branding. So like Nike and Apple, it is very likely that an Apple user is also somebody who is into sports, or maybe into sports because of certain technology that the two of them can actually work together on, or have certain products that they work together on, and things like this. So when Nike collaborate Apple, Nike is actually going to Apple's current customer groups. And Nike now has a stronger presence than Under Armour or Adidas. And the partnership is still quite exclusive. You know, here or Adidas and Apple, right? You hear Nike and Apple. Okay, so next thing is of course brand resonance. So are they proactively promoting a brand, and are they able to proactively promote a brand, and what are the platforms that they are given to promote, right? Okay, the last, you notice that my brand strategies is actually very little here. I actually focus more on the brand resonance because it's about, remember, building the brand value in order to increase your selling price, not increasing your sales, increasing your selling price. Generally, all branding strategies aim to increase brand value over time. Okay, all right. And I have given you how in more detail the examples above, right? So sometimes a brand may create an upmarket brand or product variant that actually increases the selling price. Remember, see, right? I talked about this earlier under product strategy. So this is what I mean by using this to actually help you connect the dots. Okay, so it is not just about a product; it's actually a branding approach. Okay, let's move on because there's still a lot. Okay, increasing sales volume. Right, so increasing sales volume has only one objective. I want to sell more, and that is the key objective, and we want to keep that objective in mind. Right, operations management. You want to increase production volume, okay, so that you can actually sell more. Right, you cannot sell more if you don't have the supply or the products to sell more. It doesn't make sense. Yes, you see, although we are not testing you for this, but sometimes it pays attention, it pays good to actually know what it is, because it can come in useful if it comes in useful, right? Outsourcing and offshoring. What's the difference? Okay, outsource basically means that I do not want to do manufacturing. I outsource this manufacturing to somebody else to do it. But when I outsource somebody else to do it, the person could be doing it in the same country that I'm operating in. Let's say my country I'm operating in is Singapore. I outsource to somebody in Singapore to actually manufacture this. Then over time I realized somebody in Indonesia can do this, but for half the cost of it. So that is actually offshoring, right? So when I engage the new Indonesian partner, I'm actually doing offshoring, okay? And actually that actually reduces the labor cost and everything. But the reduction of the labor cost is actually for me to produce more. It's, although it actually has some impact on reduction of cost. Later we'll cover that as well. So the most important thing, I think, in increasing sales volume is actually to standardize your products. Because once your products are standardized, it's easier for you to produce more, for you to sell more, because it's easier for you, it's easier for your salespeople to actually sell. So I'll give you a simple example. There's a limit to how many menu products that Starbucks can have. So Starbucks actually experimented over time how much of their product offerings, menu offerings they can have. So what you are seeing now is probably the optimal in terms of their menu offerings. I repeat, they actually experimented in the sense that they sell lesser or they sell more, and they did it in prototype stores around the world. And they realized that after a certain amount, it's very difficult for their sales staff to keep up with the different type of menu offerings because they have to prepare different type of drinks, they have to mix here, mix there, and things like this. So it's easier for them to have a certain set of menu offering, and that's it. Right? So once in a while you can have customized drinks, like the peppermint drink during Christmas, for example, but you usually don't have it during normal time, for example. Okay, so standardization is one. So you notice that what I'm trying to say is also um, companies do go for standardization, but yet at certain times they may introduce a product variant that actually wants to increase either selling price, like the peppermint drink is more expensive, or sales volume during that particular season of time. Okay, product strategy. You notice the relationship. So you're going for more standardized product, and therefore there's less option for individual customization. Okay, you're also selling to mass market. Okay, you're not generally selling to a niche market or the wealthy market in general, because the market is usually smaller, although that market can command a higher selling price, the luxury market. Okay, so in this particular approach, you are usually doing more mass market, right? So I give you some examples, right? Uniqlo and Armani. Okay, and you notice I actually wrote this here. This is under Anzov, right? Anzov matrix. So just in case how you forgot. Okay. Most of the time, all the Anzov matrix business development strategies do actually look at sales volume, and they actually want to enhance sales volume. So market penetration is actually increasing your market share in the industry, right? So when you want to increase market share, what do? It means that you are actually increasing your sales volume, okay? So that you can increase your market share, right? Market development is about selling to new customer segments, right? So new customer segments means increasing sales volume, okay? Using existing product, okay? Using existing product, increasing new customers. Product development is different. You actually have existing customers, but you are actually selling, you are actually creating a new product to sell to them. So what happens here is that, for example, I create an accessory, like remember the AirTag I talked about, to the Apple phone. So that, or the Apple phone comes, you now sell Apple protection or screen covers or screen protectors. So those are all product development things, okay, that people are doing um, to target the same group of customers. Okay, diversification can also, of course, leads to sales volume depending on how it's used. Okay, I apologize for this. Okay, I can get rid of it. Okay, play strategy. Okay, so play strategy is particularly important in increasing sales volume, because now you might want to think about whether or not you really want to use a distributor and retailer to stock your products and to reach out to more customers, right? You want to sell more means you have to reach out to more people. You want to reach out to more people, you need to probably have partners that can help you sell. So you notice that Apple, for example, they have their own Apple store, but they also are in retailer stores, like Courts, Harvey Norman. There's a Switch Plus now in Singapore as well, which doesn't really make sense, right? The Switch Plus look like an Apple store, but yet doesn't have the Apple Genius people inside, right? So they have the normal sales people inside. Okay, but the whole idea is that Apple never stop other people from retailing their products. Okay, why? Because this keyword here is stock, right? What does it mean? It means that when the product leaves the factory, the distributor and the retailer are taking over the product. They are responsible for their own survival in terms of selling the product. They will have to pay you for the things that they've taken from you, right? So what do you have to think about? You think and you focus on your manufacturing, your research and development. You don't focus so much on the sales and things like that. So having retailers and distributors are important because they can actually help you to actually stock those products and you can actually sell more. Okay, in the sense that you can produce and you can continue to sell. Okay, of course, please think about the omni-channel sales channel in terms of online and physical stores, right? So you want to be everywhere. Okay, omni basically means being everywhere. Okay, so that helps you to increase your sales volume. Okay, all the different pricing strategy that can help you increase sales volume are here. Penetration pricing, that means you, as a new product, you come in with a slightly lower or more competitive price, and you actually try to capture as much market share. Promotional pricing, like buy one get one free. Um, um, you actually do like bundle deals and things like that. So those are all the different types of promotional pricing. Okay, there are more than this, please. So take note of that. Loss leaders, okay. Cost plus. So cost plus here refer to lower markup um, of the price. So if you have a lower markup, then it's almost like a penetration pricing, right? So it could even be a penetration pricing. Psychological pricing, the 0.99, okay, or I put 1.99 so that's easier for you to see, okay, or 190 type of effect, okay. Decoy, okay, decoy in a sense that you want to actually increase the sales volume using decoy sometimes, not just to increase the selling price, but you actually want to encourage people to buy more, right? Okay, using decoy. Okay, discrimination as well. So this works the other way, right? So some people are willing to pay more, some people are not so willing to pay more. So you're able to identify those groups that are not so willing to pay more. Why? Maybe like, for example, the elderly and the retirees, they have less disposable income, or even children have less disposable income. So you price at a lower price to increase the sales volume so that they can still buy your products, purchase your services, but yet um, you can actually command a higher price on the other side. So movie tickets, for example, are a good example in the past. Transport tickets as well. All right, search pricing. Okay, so what happens is that you can actually still want to generate demand by lowering your prices during low demand season, and then that will actually help you to generate demand. Okay, so that's what search pricing can do. So you actually lower your prices. Okay, basically remember the whole idea now is I want to sell more. I want to sell more. I want to sell more. So what can I do to sell more? Got it? All right. So if you are into fundraiser, think about all this. I want to sell more for my fundraiser. What can I do? Okay. I would say that search pricing is hard to use in a fundraiser because people will complain that, hey, how come you sell me $3 and then how come you sell to my friend $1? You know, maybe your friend bought it at a time when it is low demand. So the whole idea is people may find it as unfair. So search pricing used with caution in a real world context, used with caution. Okay. All right. Promotional strategies. Any strategies that actually focus on encouraging consumers to buy more is actually the promotional strategy that you want to use. Okay, so you notice that I actually excluded AIDA in this. Of course, AIDA is also important in terms of raising the awareness of maybe the promotion that's ongoing now, on the interest and desire and therefore the action. Okay, so sometimes you offer something free or it's cheaper when you buy in bulk. I'm not sure whether you guys know of this thing where people I know what's the name called. It's called group buy. Some of you may be involved in group buys. Right? So for example, group buy, people actually are buying in bulk. So they as a group they ask the seller, give me a discount or give me something. So loyalty program, referral program, all these are all things that actually encourages them to come back to buy more. Okay? Free shipping, of course. A lot of people are very interested in that. Okay. Some brands intentionally market or position themselves as mass market brand. Okay, so they do not want to show that they are actually very expensive. They are actually affordable. They are good quality, yet affordable, right? Good value. Okay, it's not cheap brand, It's actually good quality and yet affordable, right? Like Uniqlo, good quality yet affordable. Okay, so what we call value for money. Okay, don't call them cheap, no cheap. Okay, it's a very support. It's like a politically incorrect word in a sense, some Okay, so try to avoid. Okay, and please don't write the word bad bad quality. Use the word poor quality, right? So bad, also try to avoid the word bad, right? Lastly, brand may actually create a mass market brand to drive sales volume. So like Armani created Armani Exchange, which is a mass market brand. Yes, it's still expensive, but it is significantly less expensive than Armani itself. I'll give you a simple example. Armani, you go in, you want to buy a t-shirt. A t-shirt could cost you about maybe $800 to even $1,000, okay, depending on who or what the t-shirt is. Okay, $800 for one t-shirt. Imagine how many t-shirts you could have bought in MGS. If each t-shirt in MGS is $10, you can buy 80 t-shirts and you can wear for the rest of your life, 1 year, okay, until 96 years old or 95. Sorry. All right, next, um, reduce costs. Right, so the last thing that you want to do in terms of raising your profitability is to reduce costs. Okay, so like I said, some companies they do all simultaneously. Some companies they focus on certain things. Okay, like reducing costs, for example. So methods of production that actually focuses on producing in bulk to enjoy economies of scale, right, through savings actually reduces cost for them. Okay, so it might even be batch production, for example. Okay, because you are producing by a batch, so you buy all the raw materials for this batch at this time. Okay, so that reduces cost. Use technology rather than labor. So basically, you invest more in capital investment, machinery. Over time is actually cheaper in the production process. Use cheaper sources of labor, like you offshore, right? You actually locate a company somewhere else, um, or you actually outsource. Okay, so that is cheaper. So for example, MGS actually outsourced some of its HR practices, or sorry, HR management services to an outside vendor to help keep track of certain things, right? So there is this outsourcing that we do, like even cleaning, for example, is outsourced in MGS. So our cleaners are actually from another cleaning company. Okay, improve quality of finished products, right? So you want to have products that actually have good quality so that you reduce faulty and costly replacements. So faulty products and costly replacements, right? Okay, during the production process as well, you have good quality management. Okay, um, okay, and that actually reduces defects and wastage in the production process. So all this actually help you to save cost. Um, you didn't really learn this as part of cost management because you had no time, but Toyota is very focused on reducing costs through this production process, okay, and time wastage as well, even time wastage. Product and time. So yeah, right. So like for example, tearing a scotch tape. Okay, so let's say you tear scotch tape, you take a lot of time, to find the thing. So in Toyota, they actually come up with ways in which you can tear scotch tape, or you can even find your different size of the screw heads very quickly. Okay, because you don't waste time walking around, you don't waste time trying to figure out how to tear the thing or find the particular screw head. Okay, use cheaper raw materials. Okay, of course, that makes sense. Okay, the other thing is this. You probably may have remembered this. It's called proximity to raw materials or proximity to market. Um, yeah, maybe you don't because this is under location decisions. Which again, yes, we tell you you don't have to study, but I think it's very useful to learn all this. So sometimes no need to study. Yes, don't need to study, but it's good to know. Okay, it's always good to know because you never know whether or not sometimes that concept can actually come in useful. Anyway, I'm summarizing most of the key concepts for you. So what is here is already very good already. Right. So proximity to raw materials basically means this. Your finished products are actually lighter or easier to transport than the raw materials. So for example, wood, timber, um, it's harder to transport across places. So you want to be near the timber and wood places. For like for example, paper companies, they tend to be very near the source of the raw materials. Proximity to market is very different. Proximity to market means that your products, your finished products, are actually heavier. Usually, they gain bulk, right? They gain weight. after production. So like a car, for example, is much more heavier than the little parts that all came in. So usually you want to be nearer to the market that you're selling. So let me give you a simple example. Like in China, they have many car factories. Okay, why? Because China is an important important place for selling cars. All right, there's huge demand. For Southeast Asia, the car factories are usually located in Thailand. Okay, why? Because number one, they have the land. Number two, they have a strong domestic market and they are near other um, ASEAN markets that are in the region. Okay, next, product quality, product strategy. So ensure good quality so that you don't have refunds and costs. This same thing, right? Here. It looks repetitive, right? Like here. Yeah, but that is what I mean by relationship between different concepts. Okay, so bring back BCG. Okay, so you have that sleeping dog, please divest, that means sell it away, or decline on the BLC, that means your product is already declining, the sales decline or sales decline. Okay, so you try to either cut it off or sell it, right? Definitely, if you remember, for cash cows, we actually mentioned do not try to run heavy promotions for cash cows because they're already quite well known, they are stable, they have a low growth rate. So actually, you just need to do reminder promotions. Hey, reminder promotions basically means that, hey, this product has something new, or this product is going to be useful for you at this time of the year, so buy this product. Okay, so for example, I always like to use the Coca-Cola example, right? Christmas, right? Remember Coca-Cola during Christmas because that's when people have beverages and things like that, celebrations. Okay, play strategy. So the play strategy is actually the use of distributors and retailers actually incur profit sharing, right? Remember, I talked about this. It's also very, very possible that because you are using distributor and retailer, it's a source, it's a way, it's a type of outsourcing. So it's also possible that they can actually reduce business costs because they can actually hire the labor, do the sales, do the logistics, do the storage, the setup of the store, the rental, and everything, and you don't have to worry about all this. So in a sense, the business costs can be reduced. Of course, you have to share the profits with them in order for them to sustain their own business operations. So it really depends on whether or not the case will guide you as to whether or not this point can come up as a way to help you reinforce your reasoning. Definitely, online sales channel is much, much cheaper than relying on physical store due to rent. And you know that rent is going up. It always goes up, physical store rent, right? Especially in key retail places, okay? Popular retail places. All right, let's look at promotion strategy. Okay, so remember here it's about reducing costs. So AIDA is actually created as a promotion plan strategy as a cost-effective tool, okay, to plan promotions. Okay, why is it cost-effective? Because it gives you an approach to actually reach out to the most number of people at the start because and using certain type of promotion so that while you so the cost. Okay, so when we talk about cost of buying, right? So it's always about cost of buying. So how much do I have to spend in order for the consumers to buy? This is my business cost. So how much do I have to invest in all these promotions and things like that? So the whole idea is that with AIDA, I let my product or my brand be salient and be salient in the market, and then from there, once I have the consumers that are coming in, the customers that are coming into my store, the customers that are interacting with my website, my salespeople, I will start to use below the line promotions to encourage them to buy. So AIDA is created as a tool, okay, for businesses to think about how to actually bring the consumers from salience to buying behavior. Okay. All right. So of course, promotion strategy that actually do loyalty and referral program can actually reduce your cost. Why? Because um, less promotions needed to run. Needed Okay, so you actually do not need to run so much promotions because these are customers who are already buying from you, right? So less promotions needed for repeat customers. Okay, yep. So you don't have to run too much promotions for repeat customers because the repeat customers, they know your product, they know what to buy. They will just probably do a one click and then they can just buy your product again. Okay, so brand, if you manage to build brand ambassadors, brand resonance with your customers, then of course you get free word of mouth promotions, right? Free, free. Okay, now brand strategy. How do we reduce costs using brand strategy? Of course, we have this idea called umbrella or corporate or company branding. Right? You actually see it in the other side as well. It actually help you reduce your brand building cost because you are relying on one brand, right, to actually um, build for all products. Okay, so you're not doing a product branding approach. Okay. Okay, then of course you use collabs and alliance branding to promote brand awareness across different target customers of different alliance brands that you have, your collaborations. That is actually very good because it benefits both your brand as well as your alliance brand. Next, build brand loyalty. Okay, repeat sales, less promotions needed. Yes, yeah, right. See, so you build brand loyalty, loyalty and referral program. Okay, so of course, if you have brand resonance, then you actually have free word of mouth promotions. Okay, so same thing. All right, so that actually ends this summary. Yes, it is quite long. It took me quite a while to do this. Um, and I hope you find it useful. Thank you.